Tag in, buddy. She's all yours.
My wife wanted to throw a party for our 5th anniversary. Honestly, I wasn't feeling it. Our marriage had been rocky for months, but she insisted it would help us reconnect with old friends. I should have looked closer at that guest list. The party was at our place, nothing extravagant. About 30 people showed up to our backyard. I was handling the grill when I spotted him across the yard. Derek, her college ex-boyfriend. They dated for 2 years before we got together. I knew they were Facebook friends, the occasional social media interaction, but I had no idea he'd be at our anniversary party. When I asked her about it, she casually said one of her friends brought him along. No big deal, apparently. The first hour went smoothly enough. People were eating, drinking, mingling. I started relaxing. Then her friend Ashley got louder as the drinks kept flowing. She was standing with my wife and 3 other women by the patio table. I was maybe 15 feet away, grabbing another beer from the cooler when I heard it. "Girl, you're brilliant!" Ashley practically shouted. "Having a backup husband right here at the party. If he messes up, you're all set." Everyone laughed, including my wife. Not a nervous, uncomfortable laugh. A genuine, entertained laugh. I looked over. Derek was standing right there with them, wearing this confident smirk. Not embarrassed, not awkward. Confident. Everything seemed to freeze. The party noise faded into white noise. I watched my wife's face. She wasn't shutting it down. She wasn't saying that's inappropriate or don't be ridiculous. She was smiling at him. Then she caught my eye. For just a second, I saw something that might have been panic or guilt. But it vanished quickly, replaced by that casual smile she'd worn all evening. I walked over. Everyone went quiet. You know that feeling when you enter a room and everyone was clearly just talking about you? Exactly like that. Except I'd heard every word. "That's pretty smart planning," I said. My voice came out steady, calm. I even smiled. My wife's face relaxed. She thought I was playing along. Her friends looked relieved. Derek's smirk widened. "I mean, why not have a contingency plan, right?" I continued. "Makes complete sense." I reached into my pocket and pulled off my wedding ring. It felt unusually heavy. 5 years of marriage, and it took about 2 seconds to slide off. The backyard went dead silent. Someone killed the music. I walked straight to Derek. His smirk disappeared. His eyes went wide as I held out the ring. "Tag in, buddy. She's all yours now." I dropped the ring into his hand before he could react. He just stood there frozen, staring at the ring like it might explode. I turned to my wife. She'd gone pale. Her mouth was open, but no sound came out. "You wanted a backup. Congratulations. He's your main guy now. I'm done." I said it loud enough for everyone to hear. The silence was absolute. 30 people and nobody made a sound. Some stared at me. Some stared at her. Most stared at the ground. I didn't wait for a response. I walked through the house, grabbed my truck keys from the kitchen counter, and left. My own anniversary party. My own house. And I just walked out. The weird thing is, I wasn't even angry in that moment. I felt something else. Clarity. Like I'd been looking through foggy glass for months and someone finally wiped it clean. Behind me, I could hear the party dissolving. Car doors, voices, everyone leaving at once. My phone started buzzing before I reached my brother's place. Texts, calls, all from her. I didn't answer any of them. Here's what I realized standing in that backyard. The joke wasn't the problem. The backup husband comment wasn't the problem. The problem was that she laughed. The problem was that she'd invited him. The problem was the way she looked at him when she thought I wasn't watching. The problem was that somewhere along the way, I'd become the backup plan in my own marriage. My brother didn't ask questions when I showed up at his door at 9:30 on a Saturday night. He just looked at my face, stepped aside, and said, "Beer's in the fridge." That's the thing about having a brother who's been through his own divorce. He knows when to talk and when to just hand you a drink and put on a game. My phone wouldn't stop. 23 missed calls by the time I finally turned it off. Most from her, a few from her friends. Even one from Derek, which I deleted without listening to. I crashed on the couch that night but didn't sleep much. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that moment, her laughing, him smirking, the whole scene playing out like I was watching it happen to someone else. Sunday morning, my brother made coffee and sat across from me at his kitchen table. "You gonna tell me what happened or do I have to guess?" So I told him everything. The party, the comment, the ring, walking out. When I finished, he just nodded slowly. "Good. You did the right thing." It doesn't feel right. It never does at first. He refilled his coffee. But let me ask you something. How long have you felt like something was off? That question hit hard because the truth was, it had been months. She's been distant since January. We barely talk anymore. When we do, it's just surface stuff. Bills, schedules, who's picking up groceries. Nothing real. When's the last time you two did anything together? Just the two of you? I had to think about it. Christmas, we went to her parents' house, but that wasn't really together. That was just showing up to the same place. My brother leaned back. And this Derek guy, when did he show up in the picture? I don't know exactly. She mentioned running into him at the gym maybe 2 months ago, said they grabbed coffee to catch up. I didn't think much of it then. But sitting in my brother's kitchen, I was thinking about it. The gym membership she suddenly wanted in February, the new clothes, the way she started doing her hair different. I'd noticed all of it, but told myself it was just her wanting to feel good about herself. What husband suspects his wife because she joins a gym? I need to go back to the house, get some of my stuff. You sure that's smart right now? She's got work tomorrow. She leaves at 7:30. I'll go then. Monday morning, I waited until 7:45, then drove to what used to feel like home. Her car was gone. Good. The house looked exactly like we'd left it Saturday night. Plates of half-eaten food on the tables, empty cups everywhere. The grill still sitting out. She hadn't cleaned up any of it. I went straight to the bedroom and started packing. Clothes, toiletries, important documents. While I was in the closet, I saw her phone charger on the nightstand. She'd left her tablet there, too. I shouldn't have looked, I know that. But I did. It was still logged into her messaging apps, and there it was. Weeks of conversations with Derek. Nothing explicitly physical, but that almost made it worse. It was intimate in a different way. Inside jokes, late-night texts, complaints about me, about how I didn't understand her anymore, about how he always knew how to make her laugh. One message from 3 weeks ago, "I'm glad you're coming to the party. It'll be good to see you." His response, "Wouldn't miss it. Been too long." Her reply, "I know. I've missed this." I took photos of everything with my phone. Then I finished packing and left. Back at my brother's place, I called a lawyer. Got an appointment for Wednesday. The receptionist asked if I wanted to schedule a consultation or move forward with filing. I said filing. That's when it really hit me. This wasn't just a fight. This wasn't something we were going to work through. I was getting divorced. My phone buzzed. A text from her. "We need to talk. Please." I typed back. "There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice Saturday night." Her response came immediately. "It was just a joke. You're overreacting." I stared at that message for a long time. Overreacting. Like I was the problem. Like I was the one who disrespected our marriage in front of 30 people. I sent one more text. I saw the messages, all of them. "Don't contact me again unless it's through a lawyer." Then I blocked her number. My brother came home from work that evening and found me sitting on his couch, staring at nothing. "You good?" I found the messages between her and him. He sat down next to me. "How bad?" "Bad enough?" I showed him some of the screenshots. He read through them, his jaw getting tighter with each one. "Man, I'm sorry." The crazy thing is, I don't even think they slept together. Not yet, anyway. But she was building up to it, testing the waters, keeping him as an option. "That's almost worse," my brother said. "At least if it was just physical, you could write it off as a mistake. This is calculated." He was right. She'd been planning this, maybe not consciously, but she'd been setting up her exit strategy, making sure she had somewhere to land before she jumped. And that party? That wasn't about celebrating our anniversary. That was about parading him in front of me, seeing if I'd notice, seeing if I'd do anything about it. Well, I did something about it. I spent that week getting my life in order. Met with the lawyer Wednesday. His name was David Chen, older guy with a calm demeanor. He listened to everything, took notes, and told me I had a solid case. Filed for divorce Thursday. By Friday, she'd been served with papers. She called my brother's phone since I'd blocked hers. He handed me the phone with a look that said, "Your call." I took it. "What? How could you file for divorce without even trying to fix this?" Her voice was high, strained. She'd been crying. "Fix what exactly? The fact that you've been emotionally cheating on me for months? Or the fact that you humiliated me at our own anniversary party?" I wasn't cheating. We're just friends. Friends don't text each other at midnight. Friends don't complain to each other about their spouses. Friends don't look at each other the way you two were looking at each other Saturday night. Silence on the other end. You wanted a backup husband. Congratulations, now you can have him full-time. We're done. I hung up. My brother handed me another beer. Proud of you, man. That took guts. But I didn't feel gutsy. I felt tired. Tired of being the safe choice. Tired of being plan B in my own marriage. Tired of being the guy who was supposed to just accept it when his wife kept another man in her back pocket. The thing nobody tells you about ending a marriage is how many little things you have to untangle. Joint bank accounts, insurance policies, the lease on her car that I'd co-signed, her name on my emergency contacts at work. 5 years of intertwined lives that now had to be pulled apart. But I was doing it, one step at a time, because staying would have meant accepting that I wasn't enough, that I needed to compete for my own wife's attention, that I should be grateful she chose me over her backup, and I wasn't going to live like that. Not for her, not for anyone. 2 weeks after I filed, I started noticing things I should have seen months ago. I was going through old bank statements at David's office when it hit me. February 14th, Valentine's Day. I'd gotten her flowers and made dinner reservations at that Italian place she liked. Nothing fancy, but thoughtful. The statement showed a charge that same day. $53 at a coffee shop downtown at 2 in the afternoon, when she'd told me she was working late at the office. I checked March, another coffee shop charge, $67. That's 2 drinks and lunch. April had 3 similar charges, always during work hours, always when she'd said she was busy with meetings or projects. David looked over my shoulder at the statements. Building a timeline? Something like that. Good instinct. Judges like documentation. Shows you're not just reacting emotionally. But I wasn't doing it for the judge. I was doing it because I needed to know when exactly my marriage had ended. Because it hadn't ended Saturday night at that party. That was just when I finally admitted it was over. The actual ending had been happening in slow motion for months. I went back further, January. That's when she'd joined the gym. I pulled up our credit card statements online. Sure enough, there was the membership fee, but there was something else too. A charge at a sporting goods store the same day, $140. I called the store, asked what someone might buy for that amount. The guy on the phone said probably workout clothes, maybe shoes. Did I have the receipt? I didn't, but I remembered something. She'd come home that day with just a gym bag, said the membership came with it as a promotion. No shopping bags from the sporting goods store. No new workout clothes that I ever saw her wear. So where did that stuff go? My brother came home that evening and found me surrounded by printouts. Bank statements, credit card bills, phone records I'd subpoenaed through my lawyer. You look like you're investigating a crime, he said. Maybe I am. I showed him what I'd found. The pattern of charges, the times and dates. He sat down and started helping me piece it together. Look at this, he said, pointing to March 15th. Coffee shop at 2. But you've got a text from her here at 2:30 saying she's stuck in a meeting and won't be home until 7. I checked my phone's text history. He was right. She'd texted me from wherever she was having coffee with Derek, lying about where she was and what she was doing. How many times? I asked. How many times did she lie? We counted at least 15 instances where her story didn't match the financial records. 15 times she told me she was somewhere else, doing something else, with someone else. And those were just the ones I could prove. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Hey, man, it's Marcus from the party. Marcus. One of the guys from her friend group. Decent enough person, though I'd never spent much time talking to him one-on-one. What do you want? Look, I know this is weird, but I felt like you should know something about that night. That whole backup husband joke, that wasn't spontaneous. Ashley had been planning to say it all week. She told a few of us beforehand. Thought it would be funny. My blood went cold. She planned it. Yeah, and your wife knew. They talked about it. She said it would be fine, that you'd laugh it off. I couldn't speak for a moment. When I finally found my voice, it came out flat. She knew they were going to say that, and she invited him anyway. I'm sorry, man. I thought about saying something that night, but everything happened so fast. The way you handled it, though, that took guts. Most guys would have just made a scene or gotten drunk and stupid. You just left. Respect. After he hung up, I sat there trying to process it. She hadn't just allowed the joke. She'd approved it, had probably laughed about it with her friends beforehand. The whole thing had been a test or a power play. Or maybe she just wanted to see if she could get away with it. Well, she found out. My brother ordered pizza that night. We sat on his couch, eating and watching a game, but I wasn't really paying attention. My mind was stuck on that conversation with Marcus. You know what the worst part is? I said during a commercial break. I don't think she ever loved me. Not really. Don't do that to yourself. No, think about it. We met right after she and Derek broke up. She was on the rebound. I was the safe choice. The guy who had a decent job and didn't party too much. The guy who'd stick around. You don't know that. Don't I? Look at the evidence. The second he comes back into her life, she starts pulling away from me. All those feelings she thought she was over, they weren't. They were just waiting for him to show up again. My brother didn't argue. He knew I was probably right. The next morning, I got a call from David. She wants to contest the divorce, claiming you abandoned the marriage by walking out, that we should try counseling first. Tell her no, we're way past counseling. She's also asking for spousal support, says she can't afford the house payment on her own. The house is a rental. She can move somewhere cheaper, or better yet, she can move in with Derek. David chuckled. I'll relay that message in more professional terms. Whatever you think is best, I just want this done. After I hung up, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. That initial rage from Saturday night had burned itself out. Now, I just felt empty. Like someone had scooped out everything inside me and left nothing but hollow space. I'd spent 5 years building a life with someone who'd been keeping an exit strategy the whole time. 5 years of thinking we were partners, when really I was just the placeholder until something better came along. That afternoon, I went for a drive. No destination in mind. Just needed to move, to think, to process everything. I ended up at the park where we'd had our first date. It was a sunny Tuesday, middle of the afternoon. Kids on the playground, couples walking dogs, life going on like normal while mine was falling apart. I sat on the same bench where we'd sat that first day. She'd been nervous, I remembered, kept playing with her hair. I thought it was cute. Now I wondered if she'd been nervous because she was still hung up on Derek. If even then, on our first date, I'd been the backup plan. My phone buzzed, a text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Ashley. I'm so sorry about what happened. I never meant for things to go like that. I stared at the message. Never meant for things to go like that. But she'd planned the joke. She'd set the whole thing in motion. I typed back, "You meant every word. You just didn't expect me to do anything about it." Her response came fast. "She misses you. She made a mistake. She made a choice. There's a difference." I blocked that number too. By the time I drove back to my brother's place, the sun was setting. Another day done, another day closer to being legally free from a marriage that had been over long before I'd realized it. 3 weeks into staying at my brother's place, she finally stopped trying to call. The texts slowed down too, from dozens a day to maybe 1 or 2. Then nothing. I thought that would feel like relief. Instead, it felt like confirmation. She'd given up, which meant she'd never been fighting for me in the first place. She'd been fighting to not be alone. David called on a Thursday afternoon. She wants to meet face to face, says there are things she needs to say that can't be done through lawyers. No. I told her you'd probably say that, but she's insisting, says she'll agree to the terms you want if you'll just hear her out. I thought about it. The terms I wanted were simple. Clean split, no spousal support. She keeps her car, I keep mine. We divide whatever's in the joint account 50-50. Done. If one conversation could make that happen without months of legal back and forth, maybe it was worth it. Fine, but somewhere public, and I want you there. I can't be present for personal conversations, conflict of interest, but I can sit at a nearby table if it makes you feel better. We set it up for Saturday morning, a diner on the east side of town. Neutral territory, plenty of witnesses if things went sideways. I got there 15 minutes early, ordered coffee. David showed up 10 minutes later, took a booth 3 down from where I was sitting, and opened a newspaper like he was just there for breakfast. She walked in right on time. I barely recognized her. She'd lost weight, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked like she hadn't been sleeping well. She slid into the booth across from me. Didn't order anything, just sat there with her hands folded on the table. "Thanks for meeting me," she said quietly. I didn't respond, just waited. "I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But I need you to understand something. Nothing happened with Derek. We never slept together. We never even kissed." "You think that makes it better?" "I'm just saying the truth. You saw the messages. You know what they said. It was just talking, just friendship. I leaned forward. Let me ask you something. If the situation was reversed, if I'd invited an ex-girlfriend to our anniversary party, if my friends had joked about her being my backup wife, if you'd found months of messages between us where I complained about you and talked about how much I missed being with her, would you call that just friendship? She looked down at her hands. That's what I thought. I was confused, she said. About us, about everything. When Derek came back into my life, it brought up all these old feelings. Things I thought I was over. I didn't know how to handle it. So you handled it by lying to me for months, by meeting him behind my back, by letting your friends humiliate me in front of everyone we know. I never meant to humiliate you. The joke was supposed to be funny. I didn't think you'd react like that. Like what? Like someone with self-respect? Her eyes filled with tears. I thought we could work through this, go to counseling, figure out what went wrong. I know what went wrong. You never got over him. I was just the guy who was there when you needed someone. The safe option. The backup plan. That's not true. Isn't it? Think about it. We met 2 months after you and Derek broke up. You were devastated. I was the nice guy who listened to you cry about him, who made you feel better, who didn't pressure you for anything. And eventually you convinced yourself that was love. She was crying now, actual tears running down her face. A year ago, that would have broken me, would have made me want to comfort her, fix whatever was wrong. Now I just felt tired. But it wasn't love, I continued. It was convenience. It was gratitude. It was you settling for someone who'd never hurt you the way he did. And the second he showed up again, all of that fell apart. I do love you, she whispered. No, you don't. You love the idea of me. You love having someone around who makes you feel secure, but you don't love me. Because if you did, you never would have done any of this. The waitress came by, asked if we wanted to order food. We both said no. She left us alone again. I made a mistake, my wife said. My soon-to-be ex-wife. I see that now. But people make mistakes. That doesn't mean we have to throw away 5 years of marriage. You're right. People make mistakes. But this wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. You chose to invite him to the party. You chose to approve that joke. You chose to meet him for coffee and lunch and whatever else while lying to me about where you were. Those weren't mistakes. Those were decisions. So that's it? You're just giving up on us? I'm not giving up on anything. You gave up months ago. I'm just finally accepting it. She reached across the table like she was going to take my hand. I pulled back. She froze, then slowly withdrew. Is there anything I can say? Anything I can do? You can sign the divorce papers. You can agree to the terms, and you can let me move on with my life. What about the house? All our stuff? Keep whatever you want. I don't care about the furniture or the dishes or any of it. I just want out. She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was barely audible. What about Derek? What about him? Did you mean it when you said he could have me? I almost laughed. You're asking me for permission to date your backup husband? No, I don't know. I'm trying to understand what happens now. What happens now is you do whatever you want. You're free. That's what you wanted, right? Freedom to explore your options? Well, you've got it. I'm not standing in your way anymore. That's not what I wanted. Then what did you want? To keep me around as your safe option while you figured out if something better would come along? To have your cake and eat it too? She didn't answer because we both knew that's exactly what she'd wanted. I stood up, dropped a $10 bill on the table for my coffee. My lawyer has the paperwork. Sign it, move on. Find whatever it is you're looking for. Just do it without me. Please don't go. Not like this. Like what? With dignity? With my self-respect intact? Sorry, but I'm not going to sit here and let you make me feel bad for refusing to be someone's second choice. I walked out of that diner and didn't look back. David followed me to the parking lot. You okay? Yeah, I'm good. That was brutal to watch, but you handled it well. Stayed calm, didn't get emotional. I've been emotional for 3 weeks. I'm done with that. He nodded. She'll sign the papers. I could see it on her face in there. She knows it's over. Good. How long until it's final? 60 days minimum, but probably closer to 90 with processing time. 3 months. 90 days until I was legally free from a marriage that had been dead for longer than either of us had admitted. I drove back to my brother's place. He was watching a game in the living room. How'd it go? About like you'd expect. She cried, said she made a mistake. Asked if there was anything she could do. What did you say? I told her to sign the papers and move on. My brother smiled. Proud of you, man. You didn't cave. Wasn't even tempted. You know what the crazy thing is? Sitting across from her today, I realized I don't miss her. I miss being married. I miss having someone to come home to. But her specifically, I don't miss her at all. That's how you know you made the right choice. That night I couldn't sleep, not because I was upset or regretting anything. I just kept thinking about the look on her face when I walked out of that diner. The realization hitting her that I was actually gone, that there wasn't going to be some dramatic reconciliation, that she'd gambled on me being too weak to leave, and she'd lost. My phone buzzed around midnight, a text from her number. I'd unblocked it after the meeting, figuring we might need to coordinate logistics. I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better. I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond, to say something cutting to make sure she understood exactly how much she'd hurt me. But what would be the point? Instead, I typed, I know, and left it at that, because I did deserve better. I deserved someone who chose me first, who didn't need a backup plan, who didn't measure me against an ex-boyfriend every time things got hard, and now I was free to find that person. Or maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'd just focus on myself for a while, rediscover who I was without someone else's drama weighing me down. Either way, I was done being Plan B. 6 weeks after I walked out of that diner, I signed the final divorce papers. David called to tell me it was official. I was single again. Congratulations, he said. Go celebrate. But I didn't feel like celebrating. I felt relieved, like I'd been carrying something heavy for months and finally got to put it down. I'd moved out of my brother's place 2 weeks earlier, found a small rental house on the other side of town, 2 bedrooms, decent yard, quiet neighborhood. It was mine. No shared history, no ghosts. Work had been my saving grace through all of it. I'd thrown myself into projects, picked up extra shifts when I could. My boss noticed, pulled me aside one day and said I was up for a promotion. More money, better hours. Fresh start in more ways than one. I started going to the gym. Not the one she joined, a different one across town. Started running again, something I used to do before we got married, but had stopped for some reason I couldn't remember. Now I remembered why I'd loved it. The clarity, the quiet, just me and the road. One Saturday morning, I ran into Marcus at the hardware store. He was grabbing paint supplies. I was looking at grills. Hey, man, he said. How you been? Good. Better. I heard about the divorce going through. Sorry it came to that. Don't be. Best thing that could have happened. He hesitated, then said, You should know something. Her and Derek. That lasted about 2 weeks. I wasn't surprised. What happened? Turns out he wasn't actually interested. He liked the attention, the ego boost of knowing she was into him, but when it became something he had to commit to, he bailed. So she lost both of us. Pretty much. She's been calling people, trying to get sympathy. Most of us aren't buying it. I nodded, picked up the grill I'd been looking at. Thanks for telling me, but honestly, it doesn't change anything. Even if they'd gotten married, I made the right choice. Yeah, you did. That night, I assembled the grill in my backyard, invited my brother over. We cooked steaks and drank beer and talked about everything except her. You seem different, he said. Better. I feel different, lighter, like I can breathe again. You gonna start dating? Eventually. No rush, though. I'm good being alone for now. Learning who I am without someone else's chaos? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I almost didn't check it, but curiosity got the better of me. This is Derek. I owe you an apology. I showed my brother. He laughed. You gonna respond? Nope, he doesn't get my energy. None of them do. I deleted the message, blocked the number, went back to my steak. 3 months after the divorce was final, I was driving home from work when I saw her. She was at a gas station pumping gas into her car. She looked tired, older somehow. For a split second, I thought about stopping, asking how she was, being civil. But then I remembered that party, that joke, that smirk on Derek's face. And I kept driving, because some chapters need to close completely. No epilogues, no footnotes, just done. I got home, grilled some chicken, sat on my back porch watching the sunset. My phone was silent. My house was quiet. My life was mine. And for the first time in years, that was enough. A year after that anniversary party, I was sitting in my backyard on a Saturday afternoon when I got a message request on social media. Her name popped up. I stared at it for a minute, debated ignoring it, but something made me open it. I know I have no right to reach out, but I need to say this. You were right about everything. I was using you as a safety net. I never got over Derek. And when he came back, I convinced myself those feelings meant something. They didn't. He didn't want me. Not really. And I threw away the one person who actually did. I'm sorry. I hope you're happy. I read it twice. Then I typed back one sentence. I am. That was it. That was all she needed to know. I didn't tell her about the promotion, about the house, about how I'd started seeing someone new, someone who chose me first, someone who didn't need a backup plan. She didn't need to know any of that. My happiness wasn't about her anymore. I deleted the message thread, went back to my book. My phone rang. Emma, the woman I'd been seeing for 3 months. She worked in accounting at a company 2 buildings down from mine. We'd met at a coffee shop, started talking, kept talking. Hey, I answered. Still coming over for dinner tonight? Wouldn't miss it. Good. I'm making that pasta you liked. After we hung up, I thought about how different this felt. How easy. No games, no hidden agendas. Just 2 people who enjoyed each other's company. My brother stopped by that evening before I headed to Emma's place. You look good, man. Happy? I am. Think you'll ever tell that whole anniversary party story to Emma? Maybe someday. But not yet. Right now, I'm just focused on building something new. Something better. He smiled. That's the right call. As I drove to Emma's house that night, I passed the street where the old rental was, the one I'd shared with my ex. I didn't even slow down, didn't feel anything. That part of my life was done. I'd walked away from that party with nothing but my dignity. Turned out that was the only thing worth keeping anyway. Emma answered the door with a smile. Dinner was ready. We ate and talked and laughed. Simple, genuine. Exactly what I needed. Later that night, driving home, I realized something. That anniversary party wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to me. It was the best, because it forced me to stop settling, to stop accepting less than I deserved. I'd handed my wedding ring to a man who didn't want it, walked away from a woman who didn't appreciate it, and found my way to something authentic. The silence in that backyard had been deafening, but the peace I found afterward was louder.